Welcome to Indiana Sports Beat Radio, presented by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington and Southern Stone Restaurant.
Looks over the middle, second guesses, fires, throws. Does he make the catch in the end zone? Yes! Touchdown! Oladipo to win it.
Another one! Another one! Huge hole! He's at the 30. He's going to go. 10, 5, touchdown! Jonathan Taylor!
Galloway finds Rob Finnessy, fires the three, and
He hit him!
Now, from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios, here's your host, Jim Coyle.
Hello, everybody. I am Jim Coyle, and welcome to another great Indiana Sports Beat radio show we have lined up for you as always. Don't forget, we are brought to you by the great folks at Endeavor Hospitality. You probably haven't heard that name before, but they are just the umbrella over places like Southern Stone Restaurant, Feast Market and Cellar, Cabello, which is a new Italian restaurant, but it's in the old, the former Grazie location right on the square. And oh my God, that's amazing. What else? You've got the courtroom down in Bedford, which is a great place to watch a game or hang out. And BB's Marketplace, Butchers and Bakers, which used to be the former Wagon Wheel. If you're a Bloomingtonian or in the area, the Wagon Wheel is still there, but it's just everything is just being upgraded immensely. I had no idea because I hadn't gone into the Wagon Wheel before. It looks like a little strip mall deal that you'd walk in to maybe get some ice cream or something. And this place is gigantic. I mean, it's a whole restaurant. Custom meats. It's I was like, wow, it's the things you just don't know. I mean, you pass up. How many times have you driven down a road for maybe years and looked over and said, man, I've never noticed that. Maybe I'm the only moron. I doubt that that's quite true, that I'm the only one that is. How's everybody doing? How's Josh doing? Yeah, when I saw that, Josh, I thought that was you, but your location's different now. So that threw me off a little bit. A calmer night, kind of calmer night last night, John, than the previous night. It's not as much fracas to talk about. Well, I guess, yeah, not as much, but there was some dust up a little bit. Dan Hurley got a little dust up. He got tossed early. He hit the showers early, man, but he got thrown out for inciting the crowd after already getting a technical. So, oh, come on. Like, man,
now I've got that video uploading right now, but what is the offense in that? What is the real issue with that? Just because they think they were mocking the officials by doing that kind of thing, or?
You know what? When it's that early in the game, it's BS because that's just an official who's on a power trip because he just called a T on him. You know what? And he's got his back to him walking away. He was walking away doing this. You know what? How many times during a game do you see players doing that? So it's okay at this time, but it's not okay at this time. Yeah. You got bigger, man. Don't y'all have bigger issues to deal with officiating a game than that kind of piddly crap?
Yeah, let's go ahead and take a look and see exactly what happened.
With their size.
And another second goal, he's gone.
He threw him out.
Dan Hurley is gone. The second tee, and he's been ejected from this game with 4:53 to go.
I was trying to make sure that TV Teddy wasn't there or Boborowski, but I couldn't tell if Boborowski was there or not, but TV Teddy was not. Howie used to hit the Wagon Wheel back in the day. I wasn't here then, so I don't know what it was like back then, but like I said, man, I was shocked I was like, dude, this thing is like a hidden gem. But it's, that's a place to go into. But yeah, all the places I talked about, and there's more coming. By the way, they're really just grabbing a hold of Bloomington, and it's a Bloomington-based company with Bloomington people. Some exciting stuff. There's a brewery that is already in the fold. It's just under the changeover in marketing and all that. But the greatest thing that's coming this summer, oh man, I'm licking my chops in more ways than one. A new steakhouse, very nice steakhouse. And man, oh man. Oh, I can't wait. We'll be able to do all the games there. We'll have a studio of sorts set up there. So that's going to be cool. I did forget to mention that with the Endeavor Hospitality, you can go and to either mywownetwork.com or just go to your app store and look for My Wow Club. It has everything under it. They have so many other things. There's a bakery, but it costs you nothing, of course. But you pick up bonus points. You're given stuff for your birthday. You get. I think every time you go to so many meals, you get a free meal, and it's just it's a great way to go get some great food because all these places. Quality. Sorry to spend so much time on them, but they're our main sponsor. But they also help make all this stuff happen that we get to do. So very, very, very fortunate and looking forward to all that. And don't forget, of course, we're also powered by Andy Moore Honda, Bloomington, Bloomington's #1 Honda dealer. You get more to your door with AndyMooreHonda.com. How's everybody going? Five Lefts is on. Tebow is on, talking about the Cardinals. Kyle Schwarber possibly going to St. Louis. Well, that would be kind of a good thing for a lot of fans around here, because I know that there are a good chunk of Cardinal fans, I guess I'd say. Not as many as I thought. I would have thought this would have been a much more Cardinal area. I grew up in what I call Southern Indiana. This is not Southern Indiana, but anyway, I grew up down in the real Southern Indiana in Floyd County. But the Reds were on the radio there. And there was no baseball there at the time. And this is at the end of the Big Red Machine. And man, it got to go up to Cincinnati to Riverfront Stadium, that cookie cutter steam bath of a stadium. But it didn't matter because it was just cool getting to see these guys, man. And it was awesome. And then about 5 years around graduation, high school graduation, A. Ray Smith brought the St. Louis Cardinals AAA club to Louisville, which was close enough, but that was cool because they did all kinds of crazy stuff. So going to games all the time. They had the biggest attendance record for just year after year for a while, but all the great Cardinal players, Andy Van Slyke, Vince Coleman, came through there. It was unbelievable the players that they developed back then, and that I got to see come through there. Pretty cool, pretty awesome. Speaking of baseball, are we going to have a baseball season? Schwarber going to St. Louis. What's he going to do? Man, they've already had. Didn't they already move spring training back to March 5th? It was supposed to start earlier. Got to help me out with that, folks. I'm not up on all that. Yeah, Evansville's a Cardinal area, but it makes sense. It's what, man, you can get to St. Louis in 2:45 from there. If it wasn't for stupid Illinois, raise the damn speed limit.
So in Indiana, Jim, is it divided by 3 different MLB teams? The northern part, you have the Cubs. The south and eastern area, maybe you've got the Reds, and then the western.
No. The Northwest is split. Probably, but more, it seems to me, all of the people that I know from there, from the region, are White Sox fans.
Okay.
Which blows.
So you get a mixture.
Which normally I would say it blows me away, but I guess not, because the Cubs sucked way longer than the White Sox did. White Sox had moments of and Rick Bozich will be on later. He is a huge White Sox fan. Speak of the devil. But yeah, no, they're more White Sox fans, man. So, and then I don't know what in the hell in the Northeast. We should ask.
Maybe Cleveland.
I can't. Well, they've got the Tin Caps up there in Fort Wayne. I don't know who they're a farm club for, but in Indianapolis, who are they? Who is their AAA team for? I don't know. It's changed a couple of times, hasn't? Louisville actually had a major league team back at the turn of the century. I think Honus Wagner was there for a season.
Indians are the affiliate of the Pittsburgh Pirates.
That's what I was thinking. It used to be someone else.
The Milwaukee Brewers.
And were they ever involved with the Yankees?
Goodness, let's take a look. They've had a number of affiliates. They've been with the Brewers, they've been with the Reds, they've been with the Expos, and there's a long list even further down that you could look at who they've been a part of.
See, the fact that Indianapolis supports that team the way they do is great, because you can't build continuity that way, man. I mean, Louisville has had two minor league teams. They had the Louisville Redbirds for a long time, and I forget why they ended up leaving. If it was over a stadium issue, which it probably was, I'm going to guess, because they played out at the old Cardinal Stadium, which is another crap hole that was built in 1776 and had turf on it that was like your grandma's back patio. It was just awful, and it had concrete underneath of it. But so they ended up leaving, and Louisville ended up getting what is now the River Bats, or just
no,
Bats,
it used to be the River Bats. It was the River Bats
just
for
the Bats.
3 years.
Now it's just the Bats, and at Louisville Slugger Field, which is very, very apropos. But now they've got the Reds AAA team, which is perfect, because Louisville is a big Reds fan base down there for them. There's some other pockets, but that's a Reds town. Like I said, it was on the radio all the time, and now you've got the farm team there. But Indianapolis, man, but they've had some great players. If you go up to the stadium and walk around, they've got pictures of. Oh man, I love the history. Love the history that franchise has had. But then have they changed their name yet? Or are they in the process of it?
Is who the Bats?
No, the Indians.
Sorry, I was in the middle of doing something else when you were talking about that, so I missed the beginning of that. So they're going to be the Guardians.
What?
Cleveland Guardians.
Wait a minute.
So
I was talking about Indianapolis.
Washington Commanders.
Whoa.
Go ahead.
Oh, you're talking about the Cleveland Indians baseball team. I was talking about the Indianapolis. But
see, that's what happens whenever I lose focus. I was doing something else, and
so Cleveland is going to be the Guardians.
Yes.
Really?
I'm not kidding.
That is the dumbest. Are you kidding me? They had to have had a contest, and that's what they came up with. The Guardians? Cleveland? What the hell are they guarding? Lake Michigan or whatever lake they're on?
I'm trying to figure out what the namesake is, if there is one. There may not be one, but
I don't like the Washington Commanders or Commanders.
See,
Commanders, isn't it?
Maybe I'm just indifferent.
I like the Washington football team.
Now, I like the Commanders, and I really don't have a problem with the Guardians. I understand that there's not really a reason
it
to the
sounds
name.
like it sounds, when you were a kid and you saw some space age show on TV, and you're like, that's so crazy. That's where we are. The NFL's now the Guardians and the Commanders. Phew, phew, phew. It's just like it's turning into Star Wars. What was wrong with the Washington football team? I think that was a pretty damn cool name, to be honest with you.
That's what happens whenever you deal with it for a couple of years because you can't decide anything. People start getting attached to that.
But I like it still. I did like it. I'm like, oh, I like that actually. Is it break time?
Yeah, we got Bob Kravitz in the waiting room. We can go ahead and take a break.
Let's do that. Tired of hearing me talk anyway. We're back with more Indiana Sports Beat Radio here at brought to you by, of course, our good friends at Endeavor Hospitality, Southern Stone Restaurant, Feast Market and Cellar, Cabello, the Courthouse, BB's Butchers and Bakers Marketplace, and plenty more. Back with Bob Kravitz after this.
We'll be right back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington and Southern Stone Restaurant.
Whether it's a celebration,
that's
just too much.
That's a lot of sponsors.
That's too much crap to say, man.
You need to just sum it up as My Wow Network.
Well, I will.
We can do individual segment sponsors for the restaurants.
But I've got to get people understanding that that's all part of that.
Yeah, that's fair.
Guys, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Can you hear us?
Okay, just want to make sure.
Like Ethel Merman, baby.
Bob, quick question before Jim.
Yeah.
We were talking about the Cleveland Guardians. Do you know why they came upon that name?
You should have
there's a statue in Cleveland called Guardian of the something.
See, I would have made fun of this. This would have been great. I would have made fun of it already.
You can still make fun of it.
So dumb.
Yeah, there's. Let me look it up on my computer here while we're waiting here. Guardians statue, Cleveland. Okay, it's called. Yeah, there's the statue. It's actually called the Guardians of Traffic.
Man, I wish we would have saved this.
Oh, man, that even makes it better.
Oh, there's many Guardians. Okay. What are the Cleveland Guardians statues?
Oh, so they're just placed around the city, and there's multiple.
It's on the Hope Memorial Bridge leading up to the stadium. There's a bunch of Guardian statues. What does Cleveland Guardians mean? Yeah, the team's name references the Guardians of Traffic, 8 Art Deco sculptures on the Hope Memorial Bridge. Okay, now we know. Now we're all a little smarter, except for Jim.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm still the same old dumbass. I promise you that.
Jim, thanks for sending me that stuff last night.
Buddy, anytime. Anything I can ever do.
I'm going to reach out to almost all those guys and put together a long piece on what in the hell has happened to Indiana basketball.
I was trying to think, and those were I was like, yeah, those are the best.
Yeah, I just got to figure out who played for who, and I'm in business.
Oh, I can tell you that easy.
I know you can. Once I get a minute, I'll just
see. That just shows you have so much damn knowledge in your head, I guess. Because I remember that's I'm like, oh, that's simple. But
I know it is for you because you cover them every day, every year, every
10
week.
Seconds.
Yeah, I'm all over the place.
I don't remember the important stuff, unfortunately.
Ask for Indiana Sports Beat Radio.
Today's guest is brought to you by Reynolds Family Dentistry of Sellersburg. You need $1 million smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you'll get with Reynolds Family Dentistry.
Now back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington and Southern Stone Restaurant.
Welcome back, Indiana Sports Beat Radio, here on this fine Wednesday. Brian, got Bob Kravitz here from The Athletic. If you're not a subscriber, you should be. Tons of great content covering Indiana and the Colts and the Pacers. A bunch of great programs right there that I just listed off that are all sucking at the same time, unfortunately.
We got Purdue. Does that make you feel any better?
No. I try to at all times remain unbiased and down the middle, but there are two programs that I just like, forget it. Kentucky is one of those because I just grew up. It was in my just growing up. It was already there, and I can't get it out. And Purdue, not as much as that, but it's more just because I went to IU and you learn it. You grew up here, but no,
maybe,
it doesn't.
Maybe it's because I didn't grow up here, but I missed the class at IU. How to Hate Purdue 101. I missed that one. So I never quite got into the maybe as a student a little bit. You get caught up because everybody in your dorm floor hates Purdue, and so you hate Purdue. But there's so many readers who think. I wrote a column the other day saying that Purdue's Achilles heel is that defense, and it might get them beat in the NCAA. And I'm getting comment after comment from insecure Purdue fan one after another, saying, they won the game and you ripped them. I'm like, shit, you're an IU grad. Shut up. Just shut up.
Yeah.
All right, I feel better now.
It's just funny how it goes that way. But man, what is going on in Indiana sports? But and Purdue does nothing to make, because the state, Indiana is still the state's team.
Of course.
And I know that pisses Purdue off, especially when they're playing like they are right now, because it's like, it doesn't matter what you do. It's just not going to matter. But it drives, and I understand why Indiana fans are so crazy right now. Because it's looked like a flat line on an EKG.
Yeah.
It's exactly. I was like, what? And I've gone out of my way to be positive this season. I'm like, you know what? I had 2.5 years of just doing nothing but bashing Archie's head in every day, and it wasn't even fun. But there was nothing else to do because it was the truth, and every day it's like he just gave something else. But I was like, I was glad to be gone with that and done with that. I was so looking forward to not talking about the crap we're talking about today. And it's like, man, here we are.
I don't want to make myself sound smart because I'm usually wrong on stuff, but I really felt coming into this season, this was going to be it's mostly the same players. None of them can shoot. You got, Kopp and Stewart and Xavier, all coming from losing programs. What have they accomplished? I really felt like this is a team that was going to finish around 7th or 8th in the Big Ten and really struggle to score the ball. I mean, they're number one in the conference in defense, so at least they have something to hang their hat on. But that's not doing them any damn good right now because they're losing, and they don't get the one on Thursday night. I don't know how they make the tournament.
No, but losing that game at Ohio State the other night was almost it just put the season kind of in under a magnifying glass. Like, boom, there you go. You had opportunity after opportunity. You had a 4-point lead, and the ball, and it's like you do everything you can to lose the damn game. No, it's like it looked like no one was thinking at all. No one was saying, let's be smart, let's do this. It was just like helter skelter, but I have to blame Woody for that. I mean, it's going on right in front of him. Damn it.
I don't know what their offense is. What is their offense? I mean, it seems to me that aside from dumping it down low to Trace, what is their offense? And part of the problem is you don't have a point guard you can trust. And I never thought these words would come out of my mouth, but they kind of miss Finney. I mean, Finney had that great game.
They really miss him right now.
Yeah, and the thing is, Xavier can play like garbage. I mean, he hasn't. I mean, he's been okay, but Xavier can play like garbage. And I have all these people, tweeting me, sit him down, put him on the bench. For who? Who are you going to bring in? I mean, Leal? His mom would like to see him play, but I don't know about anybody else.
He's gotten, and that's the thing. I root for Anthony. He's a Bloomington kid, a great kid, works hard. He's had a couple opportunities here, and neither time, not only did he not come through, he missed a pair of kind of critical free throws at the end of the half against Ohio State. And it's like, dude, man, you're a shooter. You got to knock those down. I don't care that you're a freshman. Grow up. It's time to grow up. It's February. No one's a freshman anymore.
Right.
And I don't want to get on him or anybody else, but that's just, you've got to knock those shots down. You've got to not make those stupid ass mistakes they made in the last 2 possessions of the game.
That was, I mean, they lack competitive composure. When I say, it's not, they lack composure like, say, a Juwan Howard, but they lack competitive composure.
That's the best way I've heard it put.
In the moments that matter the most, they shrink in the moment, and that's a problem. That's a real problem, and it's not going to get any better here in the last couple of weeks. I don't know where they're going to find these victories. I really don't.
Well, I think that they can win. They have to do a couple things. Number one, they're going to have to get out in front of some teams and not be in close games, because I don't trust them in close games. They just self-implode. And 2 of these teams, that shouldn't be a problem. They should beat the crap out of Minnesota, and I know that game's on the road,
right?
But they should beat Maryland. They beat them at Maryland. Rutgers is at home.
Here's the thing: are 2 enough? Are 2 wins going to be enough?
Well, you know what? I wouldn't have thought so, and I happen to have heard Lenardi yesterday say he had them in as the last 4 in now.
Okay.
So I'm like, all right, well, that changes things. He didn't seem to think that they had to win all 3 of these games.
Okay.
But if they don't, they definitely have to win a game in the Big Ten tournament.
Yeah.
And this team has not performed well under pressure. You talk about competitive pressure at the end. They haven't performed well when going into something, there's been pressure like we need this game. We've got to do this. So it's going to be a coin toss.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And like you say, they've not historically done anything in the Big Ten. I just see this kind of unraveling the way so many Archie Miller seasons unraveled. It's just eerily familiar the way this is going down. And look, I mean, I put some of it on Mike Woodson, but at the same time, in reality, we got to give him a couple of years. I mean, nobody's calling for his head, obviously, but the early returns are not favorable.
He absolutely does not have it. I don't know if it's not necessarily the talent, but
he doesn't have the talent. He doesn't.
The IQ, but even some of these guys could probably get away with some of that if they just played smarter.
I agree. I agree with that.
And they just simply don't do that either. And when you have both of those, it's like, well, crap. What else can you expect? So yeah, he doesn't have a shooter on this team. He doesn't have a point guard you can trust. He doesn't have a backup point guard. He doesn't have a big man who will step out and hit a short range jump shot.
Right. They don't have a lot of options offensively, and
they don't have anything on the wings. They're getting nothing from the wings.
Nothing. And let me ask you this. This is a question I used to ask when Archie was here. Who's gotten better this year?
Oh, No, not a single. The entire team is flatlined. The entire team to me is flatlined. I mean, seriously. I mean, even you'd have to look at Tamar Bates, and he hasn't improved. The other ones is the ones that really. Anthony Leal, okay, it's his second season, but he had a season under these guys, or preseason. He got to be with this staff, and well, there's not a lot of difference. Trey Galloway has been very, very helpful, but I don't know how much better he is. He's just a smarter player.
He is,
but he's not a great shooter. He's not a great scorer, but I mean, he does. He definitely is beneficial.
He's valuable. He's valuable, no question. But I just look at this team. I mean, the one thing everybody wants to give Crean crap, and I know I defend Tom, but you look at players in that system, and they improved, man. I mean, whether it was Oladipo or, I mean, you can name 4 or 5 guys who got significantly better during
OG
the time.
Anunoby.
Bingo.
No one knew who the hell he was when he found him on a recruiting trip.
Mm-hmm.
He was looking at Jawan Morgan. Number 2. I don't know Jordan Hulls is still playing professionally. I mean, Jordan worked his ass off.
Yeah.
But he still. There's a guy who played big time Division I basketball at wasn't the fastest guy in the world. He's not the tallest guy in the world. He'll tell you that, but he scrapped his ass off and knocked down those 3-pointers all damn day long.
Mm-hmm.
What was the dude that was, I think, from New York that was always kind of wiry? Not Troy Williams, but
there's a guy who improved immensely.
And made it to the league.
Yeah, I mean,
as a matter of fact, every player that's in the NBA right now, Bob, that is from Indiana, minus Romeo, who was already projected to go to the league when he was coming out of high school.
Right.
But other than that, and Eric Gordon, everybody else is from Tom Crean.
Is a Crean guy. Yeah, I agree. And
he just couldn't coach defense.
Don't see the player development, and you would think with Dane and everybody else, and the staff they've got, you would think that the guys would be getting better, but they're just not. And next year, look, I mean, the clock doesn't start running on Woody till year 3, as far as I'm concerned. Let's be realistic.
He's got some great guys coming in.
He got great guys coming in.
I mean, the talent that is coming. Help is on the way, which that's great, except for they're all freshmen. Now, Jalen Hood-Schifino, he's kind of not a freshman because he's playing up a level basically at Montverde with the talent that he plays with and against all the time. And I've seen him. He would be playing now if he were here.
Okay.
Absolutely. He is calm. He's just great court vision. And they play at such a high tempo. It was, man, that was honestly, if I could have considered it a high school game, I saw them play in a championship tournament at their own place here a month or so ago. It would be the best high school game I've ever seen. Really? Without question. I mean, you've got 10 guys starting that were going to Division I schools.
Yeah. It's amazing. No, I mean, look, on paper, you've seen some of these guys play. I have not seen Gunn or Cups or any of these guys, but they do have help on the way, but obviously it's not going to help them right now. And with 4 games left, what do you do?
Well, and then the next thing is, Bob, Trace Jackson Davis is most likely gone.
He gone.
Not only do they have to hit the transfer portal to replace him, they have to hit a home run. They've got to get somebody who can step in and be the guy. Because they're going to be better in a lot of places, but they're not going to be there yet. They're going to have to get help on the wings. That's not going to change.
Right.
There's going to be a lot of faces not on that bench next year.
Yeah. All I know, Jim, is the boosters who reached into their own pockets to buy out Archie Miller and pay a key booster and pay a king's ransom to Mike Woodson and his staff. This is not what they were bargaining for. They thought that Woody could turn this thing around, and it isn't happening. And look, it's not necessarily a reflection on Woody. I think it's a reflection on the players that he has. I mean, look, this team was okay. I mean, they knocked off Purdue, and
they were 16-5 and solidly in the tournament.
Unlike the Colts, 98% chance of making the postseason, right?
Oh,
yes. Yeah.
Yes.
But that game where all those guys got suspended, I don't know. You look at that as the turning point? I do.
I did the post-game show the other night after the game, and Brian Evans was kind enough to be on with us, and JMV. But Brian didn't hold back.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and he blasted. He's still pissed off about it. And he said, if I had been there, he said, I'd have done something about it if it had been me on my team.
Yeah.
And that just shows you, and I guarantee you that's true. He probably wouldn't have had to do that because I could think of all those guys. Hell, they were all like that. They're all kind of tough guys. Todd Leary, Pat Graham. They're just, you had to be tough. You played for Bob Knight. But they took winning seriously. And when you have, and another thing that made him mad, he mentions that they took two young guys with them. You've got the guy that's supposed to be the leader and all in on this team. And not only do you do what you do, but then you take two freshmen with you on top of that.
Right. Right. The culture is broken, and the culture has been broken for a long, long time.
I don't think Woody realized how badly it was. I don't think that they realized how important and vital the portal was to getting the players they needed, because they really, really misfired with, I'm sorry, but Miller Kopp
can't play.
That has just been awful. I mean, you might as well be out there. There are times I look down at the thing and I'm like, damn, what's he doing? And it's not like he's out there shutting somebody down either.
No,
he's not.
I don't understand why he's been in the starting lineup. I don't understand why he sees any time. I mean, he did it a few shots against Ohio State, if I'm not mistaken, but he's been a cipher most of this year. I hate ripping on college kids, but
me too.
But I'm not ripping on them personally. They all seem like fine human beings, but as basketball players, I mean, when you go to Indiana, you have to expect there's going to be some fair comment, and they're not good enough. They're just not good enough. Xavier Johnson is who we thought he was. Parker Stewart can shoot, but I mean, nothing special. Nothing special.
No, and not only that, none of them have had a big game during this entire time. Just a breakout game. I mean, Kopp's breakout game was against Syracuse, and they still lost.
Right. I mean, nobody's had a fantasy game.
Except Rob Finney, and look what happened.
Right. They won the game with TJD on the bench with foul troubles.
What else are you working on? I don't want to spend all this time. I know you've got some
Well, we've got a really interesting story. Zach Kiefer and I have a story coming out Monday morning in The Athletic about
Stan Dockage's favorite writer, isn't it?
Yeah, I guess he's moved up ahead of some people. So what do we care?
Well, no, I think he's moved back down as of yesterday. I heard several names flying out.
Well, I guess Doyle is challenging him to a boxing match.
Yes,
and
yes.
He countered that he wants to play one-on-one. And what I'm thinking, dude, is since they can't decide on a sport, I'd like to suggest Russian roulette.
Oh, man.
Oh man. No, anyway, so Zach and I have a story about Gary Brackett. Gary has an amazing backstory, which a lot of people already know, but he sunk a lot of money into a small business empire and has since gone bankrupt. And he had to sell his or auction off his rings, the AFC Championship ring and the Super Bowl ring. And so Zach and I have a long story going Monday. I hope you'll read it, just about the lessons that he's learned and how it's become kind of a journey of just self-discovery for a man who had everything and now finds himself struggling to make ends meet. So it's sad, but at the same time, if you read it, you'll find it somewhat inspirational, because Gary Brackett will find a way, somehow, some way, he will end up on the on the right end of this eventually.
How long ago was it he was playing?
He retired in 2011, I believe.
Okay, I was going to say, it didn't seem like it was that long ago. Also, a piece on Carson Wentz, the big mystery, up and down, and now it's looking more and more like I think fans are going to maybe get their wish more than not that he's going to be out of town.
He gone. Yeah, he gone. It goes beyond not being vaccinated. So let's get that out of the way, because most of their stars were not vaccinated. It goes beyond the way he played in the last 2 weeks. Look, there are a lot of issues that we are not privy to, things that happen behind closed doors that we don't know about. All I can tell you is they are done with him. There were issues, really just, off the field, nothing terrible. It's not like he's, doing drugs or anything, but he's not what they hoped he would be in terms of being a leader of men. And I think they just decided they didn't want to double down on a bad decision. And I give them some grudging credit for that. So, we'll see. The problem is, what's plan B? And I'm not sure they're completely clear on what plan B might be. If you're asking me to make a bet, I would bet that Jimmy Garoppolo is their quarterback next year. But again, that's just that's a guess.
But if that was the case, that would not be a bad thing, I don't think, for most people to see. I mean, I think that's the best option, since Aaron Rodgers, is coming off his cleanse and hasn't made a decision. And Russell, he's got some years left too, Garoppolo.
Oh yeah, Garoppolo's still a young guy. So I mean, look, Garoppolo has shown he can win. He's shown he can. I think he's 33-15 or something along those lines. Granted, he had George Kittle and Deebo Samuel to throw to last year. He had a great running game with Kyle Shanahan. I think he's a mild upgrade on Carson Wentz, just for what he offers in the locker room, as much as on the field. And
it's almost, you mentioned the word cleanse. That would basically be a cleanse for the Colts and the Colts fans. I think it's just got to that point to where I don't think it could be severed. I mean, repaired.
I agree. I think the day that they had their little post-mortem, they did a post-mortem press conference a couple days after the season was over, and neither Frank Reich nor Chris Ballard committed to him for the future. I think at that point the die was cast. I think the well has been poisoned. There's been so many stories. You've got Jim Irsay doing all these crazy videos, as only Jim can do. The well has been poisoned. I don't see how they can possibly bring him back. Hey, Rick, I have an answer for you. To your question, never.
He's listening.
Yeah,
you send me an email since you're all not on the same segment anymore. He want me to ask.
Okay, all right. It got spiked. Oh well.
That's the one that got spiked you were talking about last week.
the Mariotti story? Yeah, unfortunately. Hey, you know.
Well, you know what? You could be like.
There's always a first time in 40 years.
What was I can't remember the producer's name in that was for 60 Minutes in the movie The Insider. Did you see that movie about big tobacco? The guy that worked
yes.
I loved it. It was half that was filmed in Louisville. I remember seeing oh gosh darn it. The stars. What was his deep voice star of the show? Or Al Pacino. Anyway, walking down the street one day. But anyway, damn it, I forgot where I was going with that. I got all sidetracked. What the hell were we talking about?
My story getting spiked.
Oh, well, that producer that he was playing, they, canceling his story. So he's like, all right, you SOBs. That's when he dumped it off to the Washington Post.
Yeah, well, I won't be doing that.
Holding on to it, hoping for better days.
Well, maybe we'll run it by somebody else down the road, but I mean, not somebody else. I mean, somebody else at the Athletic. But hey, look, you got to be a grown up about it. It wasn't what they were looking for. They didn't like, a lot of elements of it. It would have been very, very, very controversial. And sometimes organizations don't feel completely comfortable with that. And look, there's a lot of really talented people above me at the Athletic, and I'm just going to respect their wishes. I don't like it, but that's the way it is.
Let's see what happens if there's a baseball strike this summer.
Yeah, and there's nothing to write about. Exactly.
Make sure you give Bob Kravitz a follow at The Athletic. If you're not a subscriber, you should be. I am. Robert, I cannot thank you enough. When are you getting out to any more Indiana games?
I don't. Maybe Thursday, right? I'm thinking about it, but I am going out to. In fact, I can't do the show next week. I'm running out to Seattle with my wife to see my daughter and her husband before. So I'll miss the combine, unfortunately. Yeah, I'm really down about that. But yeah, I'll be gone for a couple of days next week, and then we'll get back into the Big Ten tournament.
Looking forward to it, brother. Have a good trip, and don't drink too much coffee.
I won't. Not me.
Have a good one. I appreciate you.
All right, buddy.
Absolutely.
Thank
you. The great Bob Kravitz from The Athletic joining us here on Indiana Sports Beat Radio, brought to you by our good friends at Southern Stone Restaurant and Feast Market and Cellar. We're back with more right after this.
We'll be right back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington and Southern Stone Restaurant.
An Evansville tradition for more than...
God, this stuff's got me all screwed up.
What is it?
The new kind of trying to until I get it into
we'll get it organized before next week.
a rhythm. I got to quit trying to do so many.
Yeah.
FYI,
what?
I did this for you.
Oh, I saw them. I went through and looked at them.
This one you freaking can't see most of the damn time.
I was showing all of them at the very beginning when you were talking about each one of them.
This is one thing I got to talk about too, the damn Wow Club.
Sure.
I got to mention that. I need to get that information up.
Send all that info. Man, what's going on with my voice?
Well, I you know what? All I do is copy and paste it off of mywownetwork.com because that's where
I was saying send it all to me, and then I'll have it looking all pretty in here so it's not all convoluted looking. We don't have to do it right now, but just do it today or whenever, or you can let me know where it's at.
Like some of these, though, all right, let's see. Copy image. All right.
By the way, we're in you have technically 2 segments right now that we need to get through before Rick, so we can do a short 10-minute here and a short 15-minute, or vice versa. Just to let you know, we'll have one break in between.
Say what?
We have this upcoming segment and the following one are both solo. They can be shorter, and that was fine along with Bob.
Now,
that's totally okay.
That's how I prefer to do them.
I understand. I think it looks silly, but it's fine.
I don't. It's not about looking silly. It's about what it's about is what it says on that big ass banner right there. You can't read this crap up here. Dude, this is how this gets paid for.
Where did you even put that at? Why can't I take it down? Where are you at?
At the end of Preposition Avenue.
What? Take it down. I can't get rid of it.
I'm just leaving it up just because you can't. Ooh, baby.
Why can't I see it? Maybe I need to refresh. I don't know what's going on.
Oh boy. I'm gonna have fun now.
All right, we're coming back. I hear, man, why is right now my dog choosing to
see? Look at that. That looks great.
I see that now. I didn't see the other one. See, that one doesn't look bad. The other one looked bad because it was all fuzzy.
It may have been fuzzy to you. It wasn't to me.
All right, here we go.
Honda.com. Andy Moore Honda Bloomington. Bloomington's #1 Honda dealer.
Come see us at the all-new Andy Moore Honda, now in Bloomington.
This segment is brought to you by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington. Now back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington and Southern Stone Restaurant.
Welcome back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios. Jim Coyle with you from Indiana Sports Beat, of course. Don't forget, make sure you go to, well, you can't see that where the crap. My Wow Club. You can find it in your app store. My Wow Club. That, if you're visiting Bloomington or if you live in the Bloomington area, all these great places to go. Southern Stone, Beast Market and Cellar, Hawaiian Cheese, Cabello, new Italian place in the former Grazie. And there's a brewery that's happening right now. All kinds of exciting stuff. But man, we're going to need it because there's not much exciting been going on around here. The girls' team Indiana's women's team has been playing well, although they probably are out of the Big Ten title hopes, unless they get some hope.
I've got a topic for you, Jim, that I thought about.
Jody Watts,
talking about
my man Jody, E.T. Willie McGee. Hit that one up, Jody, right on the bean. That dude had he looked like E.T., but he reminded me of a guy I played baseball with in high school, and I'm not going to say his name, but we called him the Glide. He had that same different run gait that Willie McGee had, but he wasn't as fast as Willie McGee. What did you say? I'm sorry, John.
I said I have a topic. I'm curious if you want to dive into it that someone else mentioned yesterday on a different show.
Nothing I will not dive into.
Who would be on your Mount Rushmore of college basketball head coaches?
Oh, man. Well, of course, and it's not because, I know this is considered an Indiana show, and I cover Indiana and the Big Ten and all that, but I try to stay as absolutely down the road neutral as possible. But of course, Bob Knight is on that list without question for a number of reasons. He could win with almost any team. When he was left Indiana and went to Texas Tech, look at the records there. Just instantly gave them credibility. Went to a Sweet 16. Hell, on the way to that, they beat UCLA. Then they beat Gonzaga, who was a much higher ranked seed than they were. They ended up losing to Huggy Bear, West Virginia, unfortunately. I think that has that kept them from going to the Final Four? I can't remember. But anyway, Bob Knight, for certain. It's hard. I can tell you who won't be. It will not be John Wooden. And it's not because he couldn't coach. I'm sure he could coach. But I would have liked to have seen what his record would have been had Sam Gilbert not been doling out the dollars for the best players money could buy. It's apples to oranges, man. So he's not up there for that reason. Mike Krzyzewski, I think deserves to go up there for sure. But even if you think he's clean, I think you're crazier than a house owl.
Honestly, I don't know that you could say that any of the coaches that you would consider for this are completely clean.
I disagree with that. When it comes to cheating, Bob Knight.
Well, I'm not talking specifically like buying players and stuff like that, but you can.
No, I'm not either. I'm talking about cheating in any way. Cheating. What was considered cheating? Paying players, whatever to get players. That didn't happen here, dude. I can tell you a lot of Bob Knight recruiting stories. They're not very exciting.
I'm not saying Bob Knight cheated to get any recruits.
Well, he didn't cheat. Well,
what about Rick Pitino?
Okay. He as a basketball coach, okay, if we're talking about just on merit, I think that that's a maybe, yeah.
You almost need boundaries for this sort of list.
All right,
it has to disqualify somebody.
You have to, if there's no morality clause, that changes the whole deal. I still don't put John Wooden in it because he's never going to be judged by me without having all those bought players. So anyway, because I think even Krzyzewski, I think for a long time that probably was not the case. And it was the thing that the shoe companies were really the driving force behind it. And people like him and Bill Self were just and Rick Pitino were just the benefactors. But they knew about it. If you think they didn't, you're crazy. You're absolutely nuts. We know Bill Self did. We've seen the conversations. But if you think that right immediately on the heels of that Adidas FBI investigation, I've said this before, that all of a sudden the two biggest Nike schools go into the trash, become dumpster fires, losing records. What? BS. And then all of a sudden, boom, right back. If you think that was a coincidence, no, it was not.
Caleb Noss says Tarkanian deserves a mention. I hate that. I don't know who he's referring to. You know who he's referring to? I'm sure.
Are you
my age is showing here. I understand.
You just embarrassed me. Your lack of knowledge is showing.
Okay.
That you embarrassed yourself with that one, Johnny boy.
Hey,
Jerry Tarkanian, Tark the Shark, UNLV, baby, the Running Rebels.
Yeah. See, I knew UNLV. Excuse me. I knew UNLV was prominent years ago. I didn't know who their coach was.
Oh man, but that was another.
Tark the Shark, though, that's a killer nickname. I like that.
Oh, they cheated their ass off too.
That's what I'm saying. Everybody did something wrong that you can consider for this list. What about Dean Smith?
I have never heard, but well, here's the thing with North Carolina. They had 18 years of bogus BS classes that athletes were taking. They may not have cheated to get them, but they cheated like hell to keep them eligible. That was an 18-year-long deal that went on. And nothing happened to them. This is off the subject, but every time you bring up one of those names, that's what comes to me.
Larry Sims says John Thompson.
Not Rushmore. No way. If we're just strictly talking about coaching, Knight, Pitino, Pitino is just a freaking winner. Knight's a freaking winner. I think they're both similar in the ways that they could both take undermanned teams and well, look what the hell Pitino is doing at Iona. I mean, I had a high school coach, Joe Hinton. I didn't get to play for him. Floyd Central was too good. I was a dumb football player, but we had a great basketball program. He reminded me a lot of Bob Knight, but he was the same way. It didn't matter where he went after high school, junior high school, wins, just win everywhere. Girls win. Some people are just like that, and Pitino and Knight are two of those guys. They're basketball savants or geniuses. They just have different moral clauses. That's only two. We need two more. I actually need some help on this. I'm not putting.
I didn't think you were going to shoot down John Wooden. Some people also would say Gene Cady.
No chance. What the hell did he ever do? He won Big Ten championships. Whoop-de-frickin-do.
Ross says
it's like being the king of the county. Yeah, they didn't do jack. They were great in the Big Ten.
About Denny Crum. Ross says Denny Crum.
No, not on. He's not a Mount Rushmore guy. He won 2 national championships. Had some great other teams. Went to the Final Fours. I mean, he's definitely one of the greats. Don't get me wrong. But I'm not. I don't see him on the Mount Rushmore. This is tougher than I thought it would be.
So your two that you're sticking with right now are Pitino and Knight.
Pitino and Knight. There's no morality in this.
So then you're with Mike Krzyzewski then, and you're not going to put him on there.
Oh no, Krzyzewski. Yes. Krzyzewski's got to be on there too. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, yes. So I've got 3. This fourth one's going to be hard because there's probably going to be more than one that would be in there. Shoot some.
Corey Williams, Adolph Rupp. You almost
Jody
have to include Adolph Rupp.
Oh yeah, we were talking about baseball earlier. I mentioned Louisville. Louisville had the Colonel's Red Sox farm team till 1972. Isn't that cool?
You're way up in the comments section right now.
I know. What did you just say?
We got Joe B. Hall down here, Adolph Rupp.
Digger Phelps, are you kidding me? He was the biggest crybaby in the history of college basketball, and he didn't do crap. He didn't do jack. He beat UCLA one time to stop their 88-game winning streak at home. That's it. He got beat like a drum by Bob Knight.
Indy Nation says Judd Heathcote.
One national championship is not going to get you on Mount Rushmore.
Dean Smith.
Tom Izzo's
comment on Adolph Rupp or Joe B. Hall.
Well, Joe B. Hall won one national championship. Absolutely not. Adolph Rupp is one that people would say that, but again, I can't judge him apples to apples to me because Kentucky is the all-time cheatingest program in the history of college athletics. They were cheating back then in the 50s when they won their first national championship. They were put on. They had a point shaving scandal. Yeah. They had guys that couldn't play on the Olympic team. They were already in stuff, and so hell, I can't. I'm not going to put a cheater up there. I'll put somebody up there that's got some moral problems, but cheating, not cheating.
And Caleb Noss throws up Tom.
Yeah,
Crean
Tom Crean can go up there with a broom and keep it clean.
Let's hit one more break before we finish this conversation.
This was actually fun. Yeah, this was actually fun. I missed it.
There's also another aspect to it we can throw into it, but I want to wait until we go to break first.
But yeah, I'm glad Jody pulled that up. That was I forgot it, and I didn't realize Louisville had the Red Sox farm team, the Louisville Colonels, until 1972. But that was originally a Major League Baseball team, and I'm gonna look it up. I think Honus Wagner played there. We're back with more Indiana Sports Beat, brought to you by our good friends, powered by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington, Bloomington's #1 Honda dealer. They've got all kinds of great deals going on right now. Look them up. Get more to your door with AndyMooreHonda.com. Back right after this.
We'll be right back to the golf club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington and Southern Stone Restaurant.
Start the new.
The other aspect that you can throw into it, and the reason I bring it up is because people have started naming people that would qualify for this next part, is a Rushmore of current college basketball head coaches.
Well, that's kind of
a lot of people have thrown up Izzo and what's the other guys? Bill Self.
Fuck no.
For current.
That cheating son of a no cheating sons
Bill
of bitches
Self?
go up on the. Yep, no cheating sons of bitches get up there, and he is a cheating son of a bitch. He is a cheating son of a bitch. So he sent the text directly to the guy who got the player for him. Nope.
You should have a Kentucky radio personality on and talk about how much their program cheats and see how they'd like it.
Dude, when I was on WXVW, that Kentucky show followed me.
TJ?
Which sucked because they would come in after and say, whatever they wanted to say. But unfortunately, during that time, I ain't been able to say crap.
That's true.
Really? Other than I ain't talking about
the last time. One thing a lot of people forget is the last time Indiana and Kentucky played, Indiana won.
Yeah, well,
and it wasn't the watch stop. It was the 2016 NCAA tournament.
Trust me, they've won 2 out of their last 3 times they played.
That's true. I cannot believe that it's been that long since they've been in the NCAA tournament. I was in high school still.
I keep telling people I've been doing the show for 3 years. It's freaking 5 years.
Is that when you started that season?
2017 when I started doing the show.
So you have not.
Yeah, the Louisville Colonels. Tournament. The Louisville Colonels were originally 1882 to 1899. They were a member of the National League.
Man.
Wait a minute. They were first in the American Association.
Let's see who else is throwing up coaches.
Mordecai Davidson Odom.
Scott Drew. Kelvin Sampson. All right, here we go.
From RE/MAX Advanced Realty at Cheryl@IndyHomePros.com or 317-298-0961. Cheryl Sizemore from RE/MAX Advanced Realty. Let Cheryl Sizemore get you in the home you want today. Cheryl@IndyHomePros.com.
This segment is brought to you by RE/MAX Advanced Realty, Indy Home Pros team by Cheryl Sizemore. Now back to the golf club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington and Southern Stone Restaurant.
Welcome back. Indiana Sports Beat Radio coming to you here on this Wednesday. Brought to you by our good friends at RE/MAX Realty. If you're in the market for a home in the Indianapolis area, you need Cheryl Sizemore's 2 decades of experience. That could be the difference between you getting the home you want and not. Reach out to her today, Cheryl@IndyHomePros.com. How's everybody doing? What were we talking about? Oh, Mount Rushmore of college coaches. We still have one more to go. Knight, Krzyzewski.
Hey, you're talking about the cheating aspect. Wouldn't Rick Pitino be disqualified based on the fact that the final nail in his coffin was the Brian Bowen
wasn't proven
situation?
He's the only guy that got fired, and nothing was ever nothing Nothing ever happened. No charges from NCAA. No, that was just a got a clean house kind of a thing. Now, do I go back and forth on it. Now, I know that he probably knew he knew that Adidas was helping. He probably knew how. I doubt that he knew, details.
Yeah.
But he wasn't the only coach that knew that, because that stuff is not kept secret. Not when you're handing out money to people. Oh, hell no. Hell no, because Johnny is going to have him some new kicks or whatever, and that word will get around fast. And then here comes Billy's mom going, "Where's mine?" But so that stuff's not going to be kept secret. And I remember when they landed what was that dude's name? He never ended up playing for Louisville.
It was Brian Bowen. That was the part of the issue.
Yeah. And his father was a big part of the issue. It was his father and the Adidas people doing all that crap. And because I don't think that I think he ended up at Louisville, but it was like a deal between his dad and Adidas. I really believe that, because Rick Pitino actually legitimately seemed surprised, because he made comments that if he did know that, he wouldn't have made. I remember he made the comment that, because it fell into their lap, he goes, "Man, I've never had a recruit like this fall in my lap. We didn't spend a dime recruiting him." He would not have said that if he knew all that was going on. I absolutely believe that. I think he knew that there was shady stuff going on with the shoe companies, but so did everybody else. If you were benefiting from it, you were liking it. But see that there were other people, like the coach at LSU, that was making his own offers. Strong ass offers, as a matter of fact. That's a different story. So, it's a tough one. It's a tough one to answer, but I can confirm that earlier when I was talking about the old Louisville Colonels, Honus Wagner was absolutely on a roster there. When was that? Sometimes referred to as Hans, was an American, blah, blah, blah. 21 seasons from 1897 to 1917, mostly with the Pittsburgh Pirates. I'm sure Mr. DeCourcy's a big fan. I bet he doesn't know that. Or we need to take a break, John. I missed that comment.
Sorry, you caught me in doing a million things at once. I was pulling up that.
Well, there was a comment up.
But Jason McIntyre said Pitino was cheating at Kentucky in the 90s. As good of a coach as he is, he didn't just start cheating at Louisville.
I don't. Who knows? But I will say this: he is definitely, though, a freaking great basketball coach, a great basketball mind. He just is. He you could send him to Attica prison, and he would have a winning team out of there. I'm just telling you, he's just one of those guys. And the same with Bob Knight, though. I mean, there's certain guys that could just do that. And if you look at Indiana right now, you don't see ones that can, unfortunately. But I think it's time to take a break, right?
It is.
Awesome. Sounds great. We're back with more. Rick Bozich, the Hall of Famer from WDRB.com, joins us next, right after this.
We'll be right back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington and Southern Stone Restaurant.
Whether it's a celebration. Oh, it's been a great one. I'm glad you got your socks hat on. We had that conversation earlier. My poor, ill-informed producer thought that the region was mostly full of Cubs fans, and I'm like, oh no,
no, hold on.
no,
Let me explain before you say that. I need to say that correctly. I said the northern part of Indiana, I assumed was Cubs fans. The Southwest was St. Louis, and the Southeast was Cincinnati. That's what
I don't know anybody of all the people that I know that are from the region, Northern Indiana. I do not know one Cubs fan. They're all White Sox fans. Every one of them.
Dockage is a Cubs fan.
Well, that makes sense.
Isn't he from Zionsville, though?
No, he's from Gary.
He's from Andrean.
Oh,
he's from Gary. Did you guys ask Kravitz about the Jay Mariotti story?
Yes. Go ahead.
Oh, yeah, we were laughing about we were just laughing about it. I told him that I asked him if he had ever seen the he got squashed. He talked about it the last time. He wasn't happy. But I told him I asked him if he'd ever seen the movie The Insider, which is one of my favorite movies. And I remember being parked at 2nd and Jefferson at the light, and the guy coming up the street with somebody else, but he just had a big flared black shirt, black coat on, it looked like, I'm like, what? And he stopped, somebody honked and said something. He stopped and turned around. I'm like, shit, that's Al Pacino. And that's when they were filming that. And it's when it dawned on me, oh crap, they're filming that movie. But that was my closest I got to Al Pacino. But anyway, in that movie, the character he plays, he gets pissed off when they dump his story. He dumps it off to the Washington Post. And so I suggested maybe, he could maybe slide that off to someone like you. Or he said, that ain't happening.
Wow. What's the weather forecast? You guys aren't getting freezing rain tomorrow, are you?
Let me tell you. Give me 2 seconds. It is going to be chilly. It's 27 degrees right now. Thursday, high of 37, 93% chance of precipitation. I should have been a weatherman. Wednesday. No, it's Thursday.
I'm trying to decide if I should come tomorrow night or not. If it's freezing rain, I'm not coming.
I think it's gonna be too warm to be freezing rain.
All right, good.
Are hand-selected, unique, beautiful, and high-quality jewelry items that are ready to be put in that little green box from Brinker's Jewelers. Valentine's Day will be here before you know it, so don't wait until the last minute. Come into Brinker's Jewelers, voted the Tri-State's best jewelry store 9 years in a row, located at the corner of Green River Road and the Lloyd Expressway.
This segment is brought to you by Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer.
Now back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington and Southern Stone Restaurant.
Welcome back. It is Wednesday here on Indiana Sports Beat Radio, the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios, and that means our good friend Rick Bozich is with us. Hello, Rick. How are you, sir?
I'm good. I apologize for the background. I got day 4 or 5 of painters in my house, so I've been driven from the upstairs into the basement.
I would have thought you possibly would have been at the station, just in a room, except for I do see the Christmas tree back there.
There's 2 Christmas trees, the big one and the little one. So yeah, I made the decision this year that putting the tree back in the box causes more damage. And that's how sometimes the lights don't work and stuff. So it's just going to sit in the corner of the basement until next Thanksgiving.
I agree. I think you could actually, if you could set it up right, where you could change the lights, just put white lights on it and then just leave it up all year round as like a party favor of some site.
Yeah. I think there's somebody in my neighborhood who does leave their tree up all year.
I've got white lights outside of where I live, and I leave them up at the white lights. But no one's called me a redneck hillbilly yet, so maybe that's coming. Man, there has been a lot happened since we spoke last. I'm not sure where to start. I guess let's start with Juwan Howard, since that's the oldest. Everything has been settled now. A 5-game suspension from the school, $40,000 fine. Greg Gard, Wisconsin was fined and Wisconsin's athletic director said that's a Wisconsin fine. We'll be paying that, which pretty cool of the AD, but you don't agree?
I think in the spirit of what they were trying to do to move on from this, that was the wrong move to say. They could have maybe done it privately, but you're pretty much saying that my guy's innocent in this. And I'm sure at Wisconsin they feel that way, but I think it would have been better to take the high road and let it be viewed as the guard paid it and everybody was accepting some responsibility for what happened and move on. I think that.
Well, they're probably pissed off because Juwan Howard hasn't done the first thing to accept responsibility. His apology was weak. He just kept kind of looking for reasons. And I'm like, wait a minute, dude. You're the head coach at a top Division I program in the Big Ten. You can't slap somebody. I mean, doing this is bad enough. And Greg Gard did that first. I'll give you that. And he quickly realized, all right, he got his hands off. I saw, and because Juwan Howard's hands was on him for a second. And then they got separated and he was going away. And even the guy that got hit, it didn't look like he was talking directly at Howard.
Right. He hadn't spoken. I'd love to hear his side of the story. We'll probably.
I've got to hear what he said.
Yeah, I mean, I thought Juwan got off too easy. I wrote that yesterday. I think Juwan should have been out for the rest of the year. 5 games, that's nothing to, dismiss, but sitting him out for the Big Ten tournament and then any postseason games beyond that Michigan might get this year, I think would have been a stronger message that Michigan thought this was really a bad move by Juwan Howard and he needed to, be punished for it. I didn't think he should lose his job, but I think because it was his second dust up, he got into
actually
it last
third. There was, I forgot. I think because I thought there was just 2. Apparently, he had something with Chris Holtmann. John, I meant to tell you to try to find that, and it may have been the season before, but something happened with Chris Holtmann and then the Turgeon thing last year.
Yeah, and multiple people have pointed out to me that this year, I think it was when IU played Michigan. Michigan was up 16, and Juwan Howard called timeout with 55 seconds to go. So this whole thing about calling timeout, that's a bogus reason to get mad at somebody. And Michigan was pressing. The whole thing is ridiculous. It's the whole macho culture of, what the people always talk about baseball and the unwritten rules, but basketball has just as many unwritten rules. And irregardless of all that stuff, you can't take a swing at anybody. And what was really bad, the whole look of it was bad. We were this close away from players landing punches, and once the first punch really lands, then it's on. I mean, it could have been a really bad brawl, and at that point, it's a malice at the palace incident, and both teams are sitting out.
Man, you're saying exactly what I was thinking. I was thinking that last night. I'm like, man, if I'm out there and I'm a player and I'm next to that coach, and you see or feel that punch, it's over. It's go time. And man, it's just all on because you're going to protect your coach. And especially if you see another coach, that's just crazy. And then I'm shocked. But I'm not, because now this is 3 incidents and I'm trying to quickly get caught up or read this, but because Holtmann was asked about it, because he said he's competed against both of them. Oh man, I'm trying to get to what he said. Like, hopefully across the board we get, oh crap, that's some other crap. I'll have to find it later, but I'd like to find that because there was something that happened between those guys. He's trying to take the high road.
We don't know the backstory to a lot of these guys. There's grudges from recruiting. There's grudges from players who've transferred. There's grudges from whatever other negative recruiting, whatever you want. There's a lot of background that we don't always know that goes into this stuff. Or in past games of scores, people thought they ran up the score or did something. So and it's none of it excuses what happened. You no matter what, there's no justification for a coach taking a punch at another coach. And I'll agree with you. Juwan made it worse in the post-game press conference where he was not one bit after the game remorseful. Somebody at Michigan, whether it was A, an SID, B, an assistant coach, or C, an athletic administration person, should have gotten to him and said, hey, you need to say, hey, I wish that wouldn't have happened. Two competitors, the things got away from us. I got to do better. I'm the coach at Michigan. But he was pretty strident in trying to justify what he did and why he's provoked into doing it. And it wasn't until the next day, really, that the apology came out.
When he was told how much of an ass he looked like and said, hey, you probably need to do this. Oh, okay.
Right.
Because I also, and it may not be fair, but I'm like, all right, I try to imagine of all the crap that Bob Knight did, if he did this, it would not be a 5-game suspension.
No, he'd be fired.
And I know he had all that other other stuff going up to it, but this is a whole different thing. I'm like, swinging. What if he had hit a player by accident? Because they're all in that close proximity. Because he had to reach across somebody to get to that dude. It wasn't like he was right in front of him. And
right.
I think that Juwan Howard has shown that he clearly has an anger problem.
Anger problems, yeah.
A severe anger problem. And this is way early on. So I'm sure maybe he can get past it. But now how does it affect Michigan? Of course, they've got a great coach there with Phil Martelli backing them up. I mean, hell, they may be in better shape right now going down the stretch. But they are fighting for a Big Ten spot. That's a team that Indiana fans want to see lose.
Yeah, do they play tonight? Does Michigan play tonight? Is tonight's their first game since that incident? I think it is.
I think you are correct. Pull that Indiana schedule up.
Yeah, I know last night Michigan State got pounded by Iowa.
Which you talk about an up and down team there, and one that has gone from the mountaintop to dropping.
Is Indiana the only game Michigan State's won in like the last 5 or 6? I think it is.
It's kind of like the time that Michigan State was the only game in Indiana won. All right, where are we? Damn it. Every time I open it up, it moves on me. Get over to the Big Ten.
Hold on, I can tell you.
Too slow. Michigan.
And is at home against Rutgers tonight. They got 4 straight home games. Rutgers, Illinois, Michigan State, Iowa. They play 4 home games in the next 9 days.
Yeah, so I'm assuming 2 of those are probably makeups because you rarely ever get even 3 straight home games.
Right.
But there you go. What a benefit that is for Michigan to help overcome this. Their last game's on the road at Ohio State, but you've got Iowa at home, which probably winnable. Michigan State at home, very winnable. Illinois is going to be tough. Probably, I don't know if they win that one. Rutgers, they could win 3 out of the 4 of those pretty easily.
They could. Although aren't 2 guys sitting this game tonight, so this would be the game that they could lose. And I looked it up. Michigan State has lost 5 of its last 6. The only game they've won in the last 6 was that game against Indiana. So they're definitely in a steep decline too.
Yeah, and the good thing that Indiana fans need to remember is it's the other teams that they're fighting to get into the tournament against.
Right.
It's not these better teams. They're already in. You got to hope for people like Michigan to lose because that's someone would take up a spot.
They better beat Maryland tomorrow, otherwise then it's over. If they don't beat Maryland, it's over.
Absolutely. I go back and forth between that they have to win 3 out of these games or 2 and 1 in the Big Ten tournament.
Probably 3.
3 would get them in for certain. If they win 3 of those games, they're in. Lenardi still had them in yesterday in his first 4 out. I think Mike DeCourcy probably has them in his first 4
had
outs.
him in or out yesterday.
He had him there in his still the last 4 in rather.
So they're in a play-in game in Dayton. Is what you're saying.
Of course. Maybe Archie can come back and coach him.
Well, after watching the offense the last few games, it looks like he still is coaching.
Isn't that amazing? I think the thing that's been most frustrating for everybody is these end of game situations where Indiana just looks like a sixth grade team that just doesn't know what to do, run around and jacking up silly shots that don't have a chance to go down.
Jim, I think we talked about this from the very beginning of the season. I guess you could define it as 7 guys you would consider guards. They don't really have an elite guard. Most other teams do have at least one. You got to have a guy in the backcourt who, A, gets the team into the offense in late game situations, B, can score in several different ways, whether it's make jump shots or get to the rim, and C, can make a play late in the shot clock when the offense breaks down. They don't have that guy. Haven't had that guy really since Yogi Ferrell, maybe at times Robert Johnson, but they really haven't had. I mean, look through the last 5 or 6 years of the Big Ten. They haven't had one of the best guards in the league for a long time. That's what they lack. And you can go down the roster of every guy and say, okay, Xavier Johnson, inconsistent, pretty good attacking, good defender, not really a guy you have to worry about consistently shooting the ball. And sometimes they can get into his head and get his mind off the game. Parker Stewart, good shooter when he's wide open, can't really do anything driving the ball, or he's not really a great passer, and he's just an average defender, right?
And doesn't get wide open very often.
Doesn't get wide open. Galloway, been hurt a lot, can drive, sometimes gets in the air with the ball, makes bad decisions, not a consistent shooter. Leal does some good things, doesn't have the self-confidence to be an aggressive offensive player and take and make shots. Bates, likes to shoot the ball, makes too many turnovers, doesn't, can get hot and make some shots, but doesn't really create plays for other guys. We can go through all of them. I mean, they don't have one of those guys. And I think they realize that. And as I've said, that's why the focus has been so heavy on getting guards into the program. I mean, they got 2 next year in CJ Gunn and Jalen Hood-Schifino, but they're just going to be freshmen. So they're going to, in my opinion, they're going to have to go into the portal and make a good decision on trying to get a guard who can help, be a veteran, positive player in the backcourt. They don't have one, man.
They're going to have to hit 2 home runs in the portal, in the front court and the back court, because you've got to replace Trace Jackson Davis with someone who can plug right in. And I agree with you, because I've said that.
Race.
Very possibly.
He could leave.
Oh yeah. He could leave. I think it would be great for him to stay, because I think he could shine. We'll see if this is his play is as much a product of being off of Trace Jackson Davis, or is it just him? I think he's a hell of a player and could possibly find a place in the league. If he can continue to increase his shooting. I don't know if he's fast, quick enough, but hell, he could be an NFL tight end. He's got great size for that, and good hands and good footwork. So, it's good. I mean,
the portal guys though are there's a few home runs out there, but there's mainly singles and doubles. I mean, there's not a million of the guys out there who are going to come in there and be Oscar Shibwe or some of these other guys who go into the transfer portal at other programs. And the guys that are that good, there's going to be a tremendous amount of demand for, and you better have already identified them and started at least thinking about laying the groundwork. Because, once the season ends for most teams in about 3 weeks, dudes are going to be going into portal like right away. And so you better be able to make your move on them. I mean, it's going to be like baseball free agency in like 3 weeks, because this is the second year of it. I think more and more guys are going to keep doing it.
And that's part of the issue, that they didn't get to do that last year. They basically got the scraps, the leftovers. And then you had to take leftovers and weld them in with some a lot of pieces that weren't ready. Not Trace Jackson or Race, but or Rob Finney, but everybody else. Mostly freshman guys or all new faces, and so they just missed out. Michael Durr has been okay, but he hasn't really done much either. So, but.
And I hate to say the fantasy factor has been a huge impact, but it's enough of an impact that it could have affected maybe one or two games because when in those 5 games, there's a chance he might have had one of his really good games and made a difference. And a couple of these games they've lost by a possession or two. I mean, how many games have they lost this year where 1 or 2 possessions would have made a difference? Syracuse, both Wisconsin games, Ohio State, at Penn State. I mean, that's 4 or 5 right off the top of my head. And it seems like
Northwestern was another one.
It seems like a lot of the close games, the games that come down to, it's a toss up in the last minute or two, they don't win. And in my opinion, they don't win because they don't have that dude who's controlling the ball, who's making the plays. Plays.
What he keeps saying that they don't know how to win all, and you know what? I don't mean to disagree with Woody, a great coach, but that's bull crap. If you compete from little league up, you freaking know how to win. It's not that they don't know how to win. They're making dumbass mistakes. They're not doing the things that they should be doing. They're not finding the guy that they should be trying to find, and they don't seem to have a plan. That end of game against Ohio State was just horrific.
It was
from burning the last 5 seconds where you could have gotten a shot off. Xavier Johnson, the one thing he did great all night against Ohio State was get to the rim and get fouled, and he was 10 of 10. He could have, with the length of the court, and I promise you, would have drawn a foul and went there and won the game.
Well, and I think people are tired of hearing, got to get them over the finish line or got to teach them how to win games. You can say that in December, but it's almost March. And if you're going to teach them how to get across the finish line or teach them how to win games, it would have been taught by now. There's some kind of a breakdown here, whether it's, they don't have the personnel to do it, or they're not getting the message, or they're not being taught how to do it, whatever it is. I think by this point in the season, if a team is going to figure that out, it would have been figured out, and it's not been figured out.
No, and that's what it bothers people on one hand, and I understand, but then you still have to look up and like, damn it, they don't have the guy to do it. But I think the thing that's frustrating is when you know that you don't have the talent to do this, well, you have to rely on hard work. You have to rely on this, or you have to rely on fundamentals, or doing the one thing that you could do, get the ball inside against Wisconsin. All you had to do is feed the freaking post all night long. I don't care who they brought out. They could have brought Rick Bozich in next. Feed Rick Bozich. Feed Rick Bozich. Feed whoever's in there. And they stopped doing that. And it's like, why? It's like walking down the street. The baskets were so easy, and it's like, okay, that's enough of that. I'm going to get mine now. And I don't understand that mentality. I just winning. I'm like, man, that works. Let's kill them. Let's just pile it up. And I don't understand where their thinking is.
Well, it's going to be interesting to see how they respond because they need to win the next 3. And I guess they'll be favored in all of them. I haven't looked yet. I mean, they should be favored against Maryland. Minnesota's really gone into a tailspin, but it's still a road game, and Indiana's only won, 2 road games all year?
Got to win that game.
And then Rutgers at home, and Rutgers is playing really well. They're no lock to win all 3 games. And
is Junior back with his hand injury?
Ron Harper Jr.?
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I don't know.
I know I can't remember if he played the next game or not. The last I saw was they were waiting to see if he was going to play because I knew he had hurt his hand in the game before. I'm like, well,
yeah, he played 33 minutes against Purdue and had 12 points, made a couple of threes. So yeah, he's back.
He's not hurt. One of your columns that I guess this is both yours and Eric Crawford. another great sports writer at www.com. But is Jurich and Louisville reunion more than chatter? Is there really some embers there, or is it just smoke?
Yeah. No, there's embers.
Wow.
There's definitely a subset of Louisville fans who are, including some people who have influence, who would like to see Tom Jurich come back and feel like, in the situation that Louisville's in currently, that he's the only guy who can get it going again the quickest. I don't think it's going to happen, but I think people are definitely trying. And I've heard a bunch of different things from people I trust. I think that at this point, the case is being made.
There's no disputing he turned them into a collegiate power in so many things, and they were what you would call a city school. I remember growing up and like, that's what a college is, and but then everything changed, but along with that, he had his issues. And then there was the Rick, and I, before you came on, we were talking about, someone asked me about the Rushmore thing. I'm like, well, from a coaching standpoint, Patino's got to be on there. If you really, unless you rule him out because of, morality clause, but at coaching, he's on there. And Tom Jurich, they didn't want him to leave. I mean, he was making Louisville crap tons of money. Let's be honest. Now, he was making himself a lot of money apparently along the way, and his family. But I guess at some point, if it's a company, you say, well, does it matter if he's making us these amounts of millions? How much do we care that?
Yeah. I mean, you've been at Bloomington now for a while, but if you came to a Louisville game this year, you'd be shocked at what the situation is. When you walk into the arena, it doesn't feel like a Louisville basketball game anymore. There's 5,000 or 6,000 people there.
I cannot believe that.
The women's basketball program is really in the building, drawing bigger crowds, as they should. They're really good. They're a top 5 team. They're a legitimate contender to win the national championship. But I was there Saturday when Louisville played Clemson, and it was a larger crowd than they've had for a while. But it's been a week ago. I think it was a week ago tonight. They played Miami at home. I mean, I would be shocked if there were 6,000 people there. So they need somebody. They need somebody to rally the troops and get people excited about Louisville basketball again. And they also need somebody to get. They struggled attendance wise in football last year, and they brought Scott Satterfield back, and so they need somebody to. We've joked that one of the toughest jobs in town is going to be the person who makes the phone call and trying to get you to renew your Louisville football and basketball season tickets.
I mean, I've never been in that building that it was not full.
Mm-hmm.
I never.
I don't think it's been sold out once all year this year.
That's just mind-boggling to me.
Even when Coach K brought Duke in here for his final appearance, it wasn't sold out.
Now that's the difference, and that is the difference between in Indiana and Louisville. There will be a drop off. Don't get me wrong, but when they were 6-25, that place was full, man.
Right,
which was shocking.
Bad seats in the balcony. Those would be the only ones that would be, and those are bad seats.
Oh, trust me. I remember being in college and saying, "What the hell is going on down there?" Oh, that's the basketball game.
Yeah, that was before they had the video board, so you really couldn't see what was going on.
Oh, hell no. And I was always afraid. I was like, damn, I'm going to fall, because I don't think they had much up there back then. They just had that 2-foot concrete wall. I don't know that back then they cared about safety.
I remember the first time I ever sat up there was I went to they played the Indiana High School State Championship game in that place. Wow. In fact, I think New Albany won it one year there.
73 is when they won it in the 70s.
Yeah, and I went to the game, and those were the only tickets I could get were in the balcony. I'm thinking, wow, these guys look like they're like in Kokomo or something. I can't even see the floor. But yeah, it's.
I snuck into a Bob Knight practice once, and I was not in the balcony, but I was up in the very corner of the main section. So it goes up and gets kind of dark, and I just sat there and didn't move because I'm like, man, I can't move. If there ain't no way. I don't care how far away he is from me.
If you'd have been caught up there by the student managers, it wouldn't have ended well for you. It'd have been handcuffs, probably.
Oh, I couldn't have got out. I could not have gotten out of Assembly Hall quick enough. They'd have got to me.
I think there's a famous story, though, of after Kelvin Sampson got fired and Dockich took over, that Terry Hutchins, the late, great Terry Hutchins, snuck into the balcony and saw the practice before they went up and played Northwestern. And he's the one who reported that a bunch of players skipped practice, that there were only 4 or 5 guys there at the practice. You remember that?
I do, now that you say that. Would Charlie Miller have been on that team?
No, that was DJ White, Eric Gordon, Jamal Crawford.
Okay. Because Charlie has a story, and I think he blames Brian Evans, John, if I'm correct, that they committed mutiny one day. They said, "Oh yeah, we're not going to go practice." And I'm telling me, I'm like, "Are you out of your damn mind?" I'm like, I'm saying, "Are you out of your mind?" And so they got talked into it, and they went off, and they were at Evans's apartment, and they're all trying to track him down. And they finally, like, all right, after a couple hours, they come back, and he said every bit of our stuff was thrown just everywhere out across the floor, everything that they owned. And they said, "Oh, we got to practice." They said they started to put their stuff on. They said, "Oh, hell no, you cannot wear that." So they had to practice for 3 hours in their street clothes and all that stuff. But
that was Brian Evans, by the way. We should have asked him about that the other night on the post-game show.
Yeah, he was pissed off. He's not happy. I mean, a lot of the former players are not happy either. It's not just fans that aren't happy. They're not understanding either what's going on. So when you hear it from people like Brian Evans and even I don't listen to Dockage much, but somebody sent me a clip on his show yesterday, and I listened to it, and what he was saying was not off for about certain things. And
so you're saying Brian Evans and the former players aren't happy about what's going on right now?
Yeah, they're asking, what the hell, what are you doing? Why are they doing this? Why this? So yeah, even they're questioning what is going on. I think you probably won't get that with the guys that were closer to Woody's era. But the guys from the 90s and on, I'm not saying they're all like that, but they're all kind of a similar way of thinking. Like I said earlier, Pat Graham, Todd Leary, think of those guys. They're all like-minded. Losing is just losing. They don't.
Well, I mean, there's no doubt now. I mean, if they don't make the tournament this year, it'll be 6 straight years, and there's a tremendous amount of built-up frustration, I think, among the former players, among fans, among a lot of people, of not understanding how it is in a year when you don't even have to be that good to make the NCAA tournament. I mean, the fact that, considering that they've lost 5 in a row and what Indiana's record is, that they're still under consideration is remarkable. But, this team is good enough to make the tournament. They should make the tournament.
Yep. They should have beaten Northwestern. They should have beaten Wisconsin twice. They should have beaten Ohio State twice. They should have beaten Syracuse. They should have beaten Penn State twice.
Right.
You're
right.
And the funny thing is, and I say that, and I know you can always coulda, shoulda, woulda, but these are things that were legitimately within their grasp. I know, and everything's not always going to go your way, but they could have been a 22 or 23 win team.
Yep. I agree.
And they're not that good.
Right.
So that's what is so disappointing.
You look at some of the other teams, team like Rutgers struggled early on, figured it out. Now they're a team nobody wants to play.
I think that they're in.
Right. A Notre Dame team that Indiana beat was terrible at the beginning of the year. Figured it out. They're probably in. Virginia, which was terrible and inconsistent, everybody wrote them off, I think, in early January. They're pushing back towards the bubble. I think they play Duke maybe tonight. They're 1 or 2 big wins, and I think they beat Duke at Duke. This game's at Virginia. If they would end up sweeping Duke, they might be in. So I mean, it's like it's there for you. You just have to do the work.
Yeah, I think I heard yesterday there were more AAC teams ranked than ACC teams ranked.
Correct. There's only been one ACC team ranked all year, and that's Duke. And I don't know if you watched the other night, but North Carolina was very lucky to beat Louisville. North Carolina's in, but their record's not great either. If they suffer a bad loss or two down the stretch, they're one of the teams I think Indiana's competing with to try and get one of these last spots in the tournament.
I know you're possibly heading up to Bloomington on Thursday. Anything else that the people need to know about at WDRB.com that they can read or follow up on?
No, I mean, Kentucky's on their home tonight against LSU. We're not going to Arkansas. They play a really big game Saturday at Arkansas, and Arkansas's been on fire in the ACC. They're a team that's really rolling right now. Louisville is at Wake on Saturday, and when Indiana plays again on Sunday at Minnesota, is that right? So, probably come to the IU game tomorrow. And other than that, on the Louisville coaching search watch, because 2 weeks from today, they'll be in Brooklyn playing in the ACC tournament, and their season will they'll probably play on Tuesday. I would doubt if they last beyond Wednesday. So by 2 weeks from today, they'll be officially in the market for a new coach.
Any names floating?
The usual names you've heard all along. It's, Kenny Payne, Eric Musselman, Mick Cronin, Mike Boynton of Oklahoma State, Ed Cooley of Providence. The names you're going to hear for a lot of the jobs. It's,
Is that the same Mick Cronin that's UCLA?
Yeah. Yeah, he was a former assistant here under Pitino, and he's from Cincinnati. Not sure you'd leave UCLA to come to Louisville, but
hell no, man. He's in Southern California making big bucks. Got a team in the Final Four last year. Hell no. I saw Michael Lewis sent a picture one day for me we did an interview from his house, and I'm like, look at that. He did that on purpose. He had the thing turned around so you can see all the luxurious trees in the sun. Man, it would take something to probably get Michael Lewis a head coaching job in Minnesota would get him back here, but that's it. They're starting to like it out there.
I mean, and more jobs are going to pop open, and it'll be interesting. I heard from somebody over the weekend that wondering whether Pitino would be interested in trying to move up this year, which, considering the lack of great candidates, and considering the fact that Bill Self and Will Wade and some of these dudes are still coaching, why wouldn't he take a shot at it if he wanted to?
And I would not blame Louisville, because that is the only thing that would get them back pretty damn fast. Because Rick Pitino he's just a freaking winner. Now, how he gets there sometimes.
He's a heck of a coach. I heard what you said. I mean, in terms of motivation, organization, X's and O's, he's as good as it gets.
Yeah, he certainly is. And it's like Bob Knight was the same way, but he had his flaws that were just totally different. And again, X's and O's, man, don't want to go up against either one of those guys. I can't thank you enough, Rick. Kept you a little long today, man. It was just a great conversation. Appreciate you. And
I'll try and see you tomorrow night.
Yeah, and I thought I gave you those daggone Bubba's things, and Kevin Brockway said, "Hey, are these mine? They're in my car." I said, "No, they're Rick Bozich's. Give them back to me."
All right. Well, I'll get.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate you, brother. Right. Rick Bozich from WDRB.com joining us here on Indiana Sports Beat Radio. Brought to you by Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, Pizza, Burgers, Beer. If you're down that way, they're right off of I-65. Give them a stop in. Back with more right after this.
Nope. No. We're staying. We're out of time. We got
All right.
Not enough time for a break.
Are you going to be able to cover that up?
Yeah, we're fine.
Okay. So yeah, we're just going to keep it here. You get talking to someone like Rick Bozich, and I could go on all day, because he is he's a Hall of Fame writer. Number one, he's been around for 30 years. He's an IU graduate, but you would never know it. People used to think he hated IU. Because it was, I'll be honest with you. I said earlier, I don't get to listen to other shows. I'm usually too busy, but someone sent me a clip on Dockich's show yesterday, and because he was talking about all IU, and I listened to it, and it's just how he does some things. I think it's more about how he deals with people that are texting in, because what he said, he talked about in 2008, he goes, hey, I'm not good enough to coach there, and I just think that you got to give him a year to get past this year. Next year, it's not that you expect him to be in the Final Four, but they can't be doing the things they're doing this season. But there should be a lot of faces that are gone. I'll be honest with you. There is just guys that are just not helping or going to help this team. And with the transfer portal, they can easily find another location, and I think that they should. Parker Stewart's one of those guys. I don't know that he'll leave because of his closeness with people here. Yep, we are there, huh? Are we? Man, out of time. I can't believe that. That sucks. I could just keep on going, but I can't thank everybody enough as always. Hope you guys have a great day. Everybody down there, whether you're listening on WBRO or the Ref 97.7 in Evansville. Hope you guys are having fun down there. They got a new Division I team. I'm sure that you guys got Big Dan the Man coming up later. And thanks, everybody, for following here today. We appreciate you. Big thanks to Bob Kravitz and, of course, Rick Bozich, the Hall of Famer, John, the producer. Most importantly, thanks to you guys. Without you all, we've got no reason to be here, and you all made it an absolute blast today. We'll be back tomorrow to do it again. Until then, I'm Jim Coyle. I will see you on the radio.